Hello everyone, my name is Tsunami2069 and welcome to my little tactics video of the Kanrethad encounter, the last boss in what is generally called the Green Fire scenario and quest chain. I made this video because a lot of people were coming to me asking for tips and tricks on how I killed them, and instead of the need for long text chats, I decided that making this video will be more productive. These will be explanations on the tactics that I used, and I will try to explain why I used them. This does not mean that they are the best tactics, only the ones I thought helped me the most or made it easier reaching my goal, which was obviously to kill him. Kanrethad is a warlock gone bad, and the mechanics will all revolve on you making the best use of your warlock abilities against his. It is a very hard fight, requiring a very fine tuning of the tactics and getting used to them, to the different phases, etc. It should also be mentioned that this fight seems to have been made for the destruction spec, or is easier in that spec. This does not make it impossible in other specs, such as affliction, but it does seem a bit hard in them. However, if your gear is good enough, let's say above 500 eye level, this should not be an issue. When I did my kill, I was 492 eye level, death roll, and as you will see later, I had to resort to a purification potion to get rid of the doom curse, or I would have up DPS. I will explain the doom curse later on. As you can see, the fight has begun with you getting a few seconds of free DPS before he does his first ability. Just take this time to nuke him hard, and you should get him to about 90–92% health before you have to do anything else. His first ability will be to summon a Pit Lord. This Pit Lord has a lot of health, and trying to kill him and the boss at the same time would be insane. So how do you manage it? You probably guessed it. You enslave the Pit Lord the minute it spawns. And you do this not only to avoid having to fight him, but also because of certain skills the Pit Lord has that are very important to you. Using the Enslave Demon Glyph, which reduces Enslave cast time by 15%, will help a lot. You can also make a macro for this. I use the macro that in one click targets the Pit Lord, puts him on focus so I can monitor the enslave timer, and then enslaves. After the Pit Lord is enslaved, you can immediately tell the Pit Lord to attack and charge the boss. You do that by clicking on the fifth skill, the one with the sword tip. This charge is very important for two reasons. One is that it stuns the boss for 5 seconds, and during that stun he takes 100% more damage from both you and the Pit Lord. Use your best attacks, such as Chaos Bolts for example, during that stun for optimum DPS. The second reason is that the stun can be used to interrupt two very nasty abilities the boss does during the encounter. I will explain them later on. Another important skill the Pit Lord has is the Fel Breath. It is the sixth skill, represented by a green ball of fire. This skill will make the Pit Lord throw a Fel Breath at his current target. This Fel Breath will do a little amount of damage and will cleanse the target of certain debuffs. This is very important, as you must do this every time possible to remove the dots the boss puts on you. Again, I will explain them later on. The last but not least important skill from the Pit Lord is the heal. It is the fourth skill in the pet bar, represented by an icon with a drop of blood. This heal is huge, healing you for roughly 60–75% of your health, which is a lot. I use it whenever I was below 80% of my health. As you've seen by now, enslaving the Pit Lord makes Kanrethad very angry, and at that point the fight with him really begins. The rest of the fight will be comprised of 3 parts that I like to call phases, with each phase consisting of the boss summoning a group of adds and then trying to do a cataclysm. Then he enters the next phase, summoning a different group of adds, trying another cataclysm, and so on. Once the third phase has ended, he will resume the first one. But before I explain the phases themselves and how to handle the different adds, I would like to explain the boss's abilities. One of these abilities is called a Cataclysm. It is a 6-second cast that a boss will do roughly 30 seconds after each add summoned, and that, if allowed to fully cast, will deal 1 million damage, basically killing you. This has to be interrupted at all costs, using the Pit Lord's charge. You can use the charge at other occasions, for example the summoning of the adds, but you must make sure that you have the charge ready for the Cataclysm. The other skill is the Chaos Bolt. The Chaos Bolt is used by the boss around every 30 seconds and it deals a lot of damage. The only way to survive the Chaos Bolt is to either interrupt it with a charge or mitigate the damage using, for example, Sacrificial Pact or Dark Bargain. Personally, I prefer the Sacrificial Pact since it's a 400% taken from your current pet, which is a very big fat lord with a lot of health. Your Twilight Ward and Unending Resolve will also reduce the damage you take from it. However, there is a way to avoid the Chaos Bolt from even being cast at all during the entire fight. How, you may ask? Either it's a bug or a thought-up tactic, I do not know. But as you may have noticed, I have a demonic gateway set up, and I've been using it as much as possible. Doing this resets the aggro, making the boss for brief moments attack the Pit Lord and not yourself. And while he's attacking the Pit Lord, he does not cast Chaos Bolts. So a good managed use of the gateway can prevent from even one single chaos bolt ever being launched during the entire fight. Less dangerously are the dots the boss puts on you. The most important one is the Curse of Ultimate Doom. This is a second-minute curse that will kill you if it reaches its end, working as an enrage timer for the fight. However, you can take purification potions with you. These purification potions can cleanse this Doom curse, making the boss have to reapply the Doom curse to you and thus giving you 7 extra minutes, if your DPS isn't being high enough. Think of this as a last resort though, and not as, oh, I can fight him for another 7 minutes so I'm okay kind of thing, because the fight only gets harder the longer it takes. Other dots include the Curse of Agony, a quite annoying seed of corruption that, if allowed to reach the end, will do damage to you, knock you back, and either spawn a void zone on the floor that annoyingly drags you into the middle of it, or it spawns an even more annoying little imp on your shoulder that for 30 seconds interrupts your casts. Both Curse of Agony and the seed must be cleansed whenever possible using the Pit Lord's Fel Breath. I recommend the usage of a macro that casts Fel Breath on yourself without having to change targets. The only ability left to mention is a not very dangerous Rain of Fire that you have to move out of. It doesn't do much damage, but obviously you should still move out of it. Now that I've covered all the boss's skills, it's time to go into the details about the 3 different phases. These phases are the Imp phase, the Fel Hunter phase, and the Doom Lord phase. This is relative, as I've stated, to the type of ads he summons. So let's turn the video back a little and see each phase in detail. So you just finished enslaving your Pit Lord. Now the boss is mad and the fight begins. About 15 seconds later, the boss always seems to go into the middle and try to do a cataclysm. But if you use the money gateway like I told you, and this is probably due to a bug, he seems to fail that first cataclysm without the need of the charge. And sometimes, like you can see on the video, he doesn't even go to the middle at all and just stays in his position casting dots on me and attacking the Pit Lord. This means you can do an extra charge at the boss while DPSing him hard. Approximately 50 seconds after the failed cataclysm, he goes into his portal and starts summoning the first wave of ads. And those are going to be a big bunch of wild imps, who do nothing more than shoot firebolts at you. They don't do much damage alone, but when you have a lot of these nasty imps, they will hurt a lot. Now these can be handled in many ways, but the way I found best was to put a rain of fire on the boss's portal, so I can aggro those imps as they spawn, and then move a few yards away so I can drag them all into one position. At that point, I just do a small nuke of AoE on them, using Rain of Fire, and Fire and Brimstone immolate, conflagrate, and incinerate. But the biggest damage from these imps will come from the Pit Lord's Fel Breath. As you can see now, all I did was just move on top of the imps, use my macro to cast Fel Breath on me, hitting the imps in the process. A successful Fel Breath will take about 75% of the imp's life. That, along with your previous AoE, will most likely kill all of them. Finish off any remaining imps. After you dispatch the wimps, like I like to call them, you will have another cataclysm, so it's time to charge. Take these moments without ads to do the most possible DPS on the boss. After this last cataclysm, and before the next summon, you will see me go to the right side and send the Pit Lord hiding into that little corner. I will explain why I did this in just a little moment. After the cataclysm, he will proceed again to this portal and summon 3 nasty Fel Hunters. They are nasty on themselves. They do some melee bites which don't hurt you much, and you can also kill them rather quickly. The big problem, and what makes this probably the hardest phase of them all, is the fact that if the Pit Lord is in line of sight of these Fel Hunters, and they are facing the Pit Lord, their melee bites will eat or enslave, freeing the Pit Lord. As you can imagine, this is very bad. The Pit Lord will, quite angry, come charging back at you, and you'd have to re-enslave while having the Fel Hunters and the boss to handle taking whacks at you. Usually for me, if the Pit Lord was freed, it puts a wipe. Again, there are multiple ways of handling this, and most of them revolve around putting the Pit Lord in a certain place using your remove 2/3 skill. Now, some people just like to put the Pit Lord in one place and then aggro the Fel Hunters going the other direction, making sure they don't turn around and face the Pit Lord. Another famous tactic is to hide yourself in one of those crevices, like I hid the Pit Lord. However, I found any of these tactics very shaky and prone to possible fails, putting more stress on me. So what I did was simply hide the Pit Lord in a wall crevice, making him completely out of line of sight of the Fel Hunters, making it easier for me to just nuke the Fel Hunters fast. Also, don't forget to keep using your gateway to reset aggro on the boss and the Fel Hunters. After the 3 Fel Hunters are dead, just put the Pit Lord on the boss and proceed as normal into the second cataclysm. At this point, you're on the easy part of the fight, and where you can do the biggest amount of damage to the boss. Simply because the third ad that the boss will summon is a Doom Lord, an ad that will shoot very painful shadow bolts at you. However, these Doom Lords can be banished and or feared, making them rather easy to handle, but annoying if you let the fight last too long. So the minute the Doom Lord appears, banish it and resume spanking the boss. Keep the Doom Lord banished as much as possible. It is also possible to make the Pit Lord aggro the Doom Lord through Fel Breaths and Demonic Gateway aggro reset, avoiding the need to keep him banished, but I found this again to be a very shaky tactic and prone to fail. As I said, use this time to spank the boss as much as possible. After the Doom Lord summon, a third Cataclysm will ensue. Once again, charge and keep DPSing. Now very importantly, by the time you have interrupted the boss's third Cataclysm, or the Doom Lord Cataclysm as I like to call it, your enslave on the Pit Lord will be running out. So use this more easy time to re-enslave the Pit Lord, preferably like I did, casting a Fel Breath on yourself just before releasing the Pit Lord. This will make the Pit Lord keep using the Fel Breath after you've released him, giving you extra time to re-enslave without risking the Pit Lord attacking you. After the Doom Lord's Cataclysm, the boss goes back to Wild Imps phase, then a fourth Cataclysm, then another Fel Hunter phase, and so on. You should handle these adds just like before while keeping the first Doom Lord banished. When he summons the second Doom Lord, this one can be feared and should be done so until the end of the fight. By the time of the summoning of the second Doom Lord, your Curse of Doom should be running out. If you still haven't killed the boss, consider using a Purification Potion at this time to cleanse the Doom Curse, giving you another extra 7 minutes. However, do not attempt to continue the fight much longer because you will keep spawning Imps, Fel Hunters and Doom Lords as before, which will only get harder. But as you can see from my video, I managed to kill him shortly after the third imp summoning. And like I said before, this was with my crappy 492 eye level gear. Higher eye level and better geared characters should have the boss down around or even before the second Doom Lord comes. And that's it. Once you bring the boss's health to about 200k, he kills every mob in the room and starts strangling you as an announcement of your doom. But you are saved by Jubeka. After a small talk, you can click on Kanrethad to claim your green fire, and congratulations! I hope you enjoyed and found this guide useful. Feel free to make constructive comments, and if you like this video, click on that little like button as I will deeply appreciate it. I will leave you now with the rest of the fight and the event that follows. Enjoy them. Take care now. Bye bye then.